Hi folks, and welcome to Jackson Hole. Today let's talk about bear spray. If you fly into Jackson Hole, you're going to get into the airport and then there's going to be a vendor either trying to sell you bear spray or rent it to you for your vacation. Now the real question is this a good investment? Is this something that you're actually going to need while you gallivant around Jackson Hole and Yellowstone National Park? Now the real question is this something you're going to need on your vacation? Well, it might depend on what you're doing and how you're doing it. Now let's take a look at what Yellowstone says about safe distances. The park requires that people stay at least 100 yards away from bears, which is about the length of a football field, unless you are safely in your car and it's moving by. Now, whether you're in Yellowstone or in the greater Yellowstone area, say Jackson Hole, Wyoming, the southern part of Montana, or the eastern part of Idaho, how many grizzlies are there up in the mountains? Well, according to the Yellowstone website, there's roughly 1,063 estimated grizzly bears in this greater Yellowstone area. But how many people are actually being injured by bears? That's a really good question. Now, from what I can tell, they've been keeping records for this since around 1979, and out of 118 million people visiting Yellowstone, there have been 44 people injured by grizzly bears. Now, of those 44, 8 of them were killed. So as an overall, in all the park activities that you can do, that's one person out of 2.7 million visits. Well, the park has around 5 million visitors a year, so that means about 2 people a year could be potentially injured on average. But if you were just going to a normal campground and you're staying to the populated areas, your chance of injury from a bear is 1 in 26 million visits to the park, which is a very small number. But once you get into the backcountry, the chance of being injured by a grizzly bear goes way up to 1 in 232,000 travel days, which is still a lot. It means there's a very small chance of being injured. But what these numbers don't indicate is how many injuries have been avoided by using things like bear spray. There's no real way for us to measure that because these incidences don't get reported. Most of the fatalities that take place are actually from female grizzlies with cubs, and they get surprised and they're just defending their young. So to the question, do you need bear spray? Well, this will depend. Are you going into the backcountry? Are you going to be hiking or mountain biking in a more remote area, a less populated area, an area where you could encounter a grizzly bear? If the answer to that is yes, then probably. I've created this simple flowchart. Are you going to be going into the woods? No? Then just buy people spray. If you are going into the woods, are you prepared to fight off a bear? If you are, we recommend going and watching The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. But if you're not prepared to fight off a bear, then yeah, you should probably buy bear spray and then learn how to use it properly. Whatever you do, do not go into the backcountry with bear spray and not know how to use it. There's some great videos out there on when is it actually appropriate to use the spray and when is it not. Because these cans of bear spray empty very quickly, like in a matter of seconds. So if you use it at the wrong time, you could just waste it, not be able to defend yourself, and just upset the bear even more. Of the more than 1,000 grizzlies in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, over 80% of them are actually outside Yellowstone National Park. So just because you're not going to Yellowstone doesn't mean you don't need to be prepared. Maybe you need to be more prepared. Outside of Yellowstone, there's probably more bear incidences than within Yellowstone. And whatever you do, never shoot a grizzly. These bears are protected, and if you shoot one, the fines can be up to $50,000 and years in jail. So the key is don't surprise a bear. You can buy a set of bells that jingle as you walk so a bear is never caught off guard with you coming around the corner, either on a mountain bike or while hiking. And if you do have to defend yourself, pepper spray is been shown to be more effective than a gun. And my final note on this is be aware of your surroundings. If you're walking down a trail and there's a fresh pile of bear poop, or you don't know if it's bear poop, just smell it. It should smell like pepper and have little bells in it.